Happy Place Home Studios.
Hi, welcome to Happy Place Home Studio. And in this episode, we are going to talk about setting up a remote studio or a second studio. I like to leverage my own experience when I can in doing things and make episodes about them here on Happy Place Home Studio. And in this case, my experience is that I have a home in Hawaii, and my wife and I spend 4 or 5 months a year here. And so I decided that I wanted to be able to produce content here in Hawaii, and I gave some thought to what do I need to have to set up that second home studio. And of course, my studio back at home is something I've been building for 20 years. It's got everything I need in it. I'm used to it. I'm comfortable with it. And I know that whatever I want to do, I can do. So I really had to kind of think about what do I want to be able to do here in Hawaii and how can I build that remote studio affordably and with the limited space that I have here in Hawaii. Basically, my home studio is in our bedroom, and doesn't have very much space for anything. But fortunately, today's products and equipment, depending on what you want to do, really let you have a great remote studio, very capable remote studio, even if you don't have a lot of resources. So that's what we're going to talk about. I'm starting out pretty raw and basic with this video recording because I'm going to try to do my unpacking and setup of my studio more or less in real time, not 100%, more or less. So I'm actually just recording on my Handycam right now, and the Handycam's built-in microphone, which is fine. It's not what I normally do, but it works fine. One of the things that you'll notice, I don't have good lighting here. That is one thing I will be ordering while I'm here is a lighting solution, so we'll go through that a little bit. You can hear there's noise in the room. I've got the air conditioner running. So I've got some things that I'll need to be doing for the environment to make that good for recording the types of content that I plan to record here at my remote studio. So what will that be? Well, I clearly don't have my room full of instruments that I have in my home studio back in my home in Seattle area, but I've got a nice koa wood guitar, so I hope to do some writing and some recording with that here. I will be doing some live streaming on my Constitution Time channel, and I will be producing content for Happy Place Home Studio. Obviously, down in Hawaii, I'm on vacation more or less, and don't go at the same pace doing anything, so I'm not going to produce that much here. But certainly, it's one of the ways that I will use my time down here. I don't have a huge amount of equipment for this setup, but actually, as I got it all ready and laid out to produce this video, I realized, well, I have quite a bit. So we'll go through what that is and the reasons that I have that. So I clearly want to have a good microphone for audio setup. I want to have the ability to edit what I create. So I'll be using OBS Studio for that on the video production side and Final Cut Pro. I will be using Digital Performer as always for any of my audio recordings and tracking, and so the setup I need for that is going to encompass all of those things. Now, one good thing is that one of the key systems that I use in my studio back at home is a MacBook Pro. It's very powerful, relatively new. It's three years old now, I guess. But I already had a lot of this stuff set up on that MacBook Pro, so I'm not starting from scratch when it comes to some of those things. We'll take a look at the ecosystem that I'll have here and some of the specific components of it, and then we'll start getting things hooked up, and we'll see how things progress here at Happy Place Home Studio South. Okay, let's take a look at the cast of characters that we have here in my mini studio setup. And One thing that you're going to notice is that I have a lot of Elgato gear that I had procured last year for this endeavor. If any of you watched the last video I produced, you know I'm not super happy with Elgato right now, and I don't actually know how much of this stuff is going to work, but we will find out. So the centerpiece of my setup is my MacBook Pro. That's a fairly late model Intel version of the MacBook Pro, and it's already preloaded with lots of my favorite software on there, including Digital Performer, OBS, Final Cut Pro, etc. For my microphone, I'll be using, if it works, the Waves 3 microphone from Elgato. And this is a USB microphone, so I have not used one of those before. We will see how that goes. For automation, I had intended to use the Stream Deck. The Stream Deck currently is not working with any of my systems. And so I have an alternative to that, hoping that maybe new drivers or something will come out and that the Stream Deck will work again. Another piece of gear that I'll be relying on is the Camlink 4K from Elgato. I've been using this for years and I do 4K recording with it. And I've had some problems with it lately, but hopefully, again, this will be something that works for me here. For audio recording, I am not going to use the Waves 3. That's what I'll do for voice recording. But for other audio recording, I'll be relying on the M4 from Motu. I use the M2 back at home. It works really well, and so I got an M4 for down here. This is a piece of gear I probably will not use because I have the M4, but I had also ordered this from Elgato, and it is a solution that allows you to have a single audio microphone hooked up for your recordings, and I may not have occasion to actually use this. Okay, after a few hours of unpacking, connecting, and testing, this is the configuration that I've ended up with for my remote studio. The centerpiece is the MacBook Pro. This is a 2019 Intel model. And it is not only what I'm using here, but it's something that's integral to my studio back in the Pacific Northwest when I go back there. I use it all the time, and it's already configured with most of the software that I use on my new Mac Studio back home. And so I'm pretty well set up there. The Waves 3 microphone from Elgato is working and working pretty well. And I'm liking using it. It's picks up my voice pretty well from a distance and is fairly configurable. The Stream Deck is working again after new drivers were released, and I'm still pretty chapped at Elgato for leaving me down for more than a month with my Stream Deck at home, but I am glad that they've released the new drivers, and I'm hopeful that my Stream Deck setup at home will work when I get there. And so I have that for automation, which is critical for most of what I do, not only recording, but also live streaming. The Camlink 4K is what is currently hooked up to the Sony FDR-AX53 camera that I'm recording with, and that is working well. I'm not recording at 4K at this point because I can't handle the file sizes until I download and configure an application called Handbrake on this particular Macintosh. And finally, I have set up a Motu M4 for audio recording that will primarily probably be used to record my guitar, and I will not do any music recording with the Waves 3 microphone. So if I need to do any actual audio recording that's not direct from the guitar through a DI box, I'll probably pick up a Shure SM58 microphone for that purpose. So that's the setup. It was fairly straightforward, fairly easy to get going. I had a couple of glitches, but overall, not difficult. As mentioned, I need some better lighting solutions for my little space here.
I have taken the time to locate and find some lighting solutions, ordered them, and had them delivered down here in Hawaii. And let's take a look at some of the things that I've selected. All right, one of the solutions I selected is Elgato's Key Light lighting system. And I used the Key Light Air in my studio in Seattle. Elgato is the devil I know, and I had already ordered, as I've mentioned before, a lot of Elgato stuff last year in preparation for setting this studio up. So I've stuck with Elgato. Now I changed to the Key Light both to try out the Key Light in comparison to the Key Light Air, and because I felt like it would provide more lighting than the Key Light Air does. It works pretty similar and was similar to install and set up. So I have that actually installed right now. I'm not using it at the moment, but we'll show our lighting off here in the evening. And let's take a look at some of the other lighting solutions that I've selected. I've gone a little more extensively than I ever have before with lighting, just for the heck of it, and because I'd also like to improve the lighting up in Seattle. This is a Philips Hue kit that I ordered from Amazon. I have never used this kit before, and in fact, I have never used a Philips product before, so this will be new and interesting. The Hue kit is used by live streamers that have lighting solutions and seems to be fairly well thought of. And in my little space here, it's a little unusual. I don't really have a great place to put lighting. So I'm going to see if I can attach some lighting to that TV behind me, and we'll see how that goes, if it makes a difference at all. If it doesn't, I might take this back up to Seattle and see if it will work there. And finally, I ordered an additional Elgato solution that I have never used before. This is the Elgato Light Strip, and I've got two of them. So here again, we'll see where and if I can use it and what difference it makes for my lighting. Okay, here we are with all the new lighting set up and my first evening time recording. And for the most part, things went pretty smoothly. I've actually got 3 different lighting systems set up here in Happy Place Home Studio South at this point. I've got my Key Light systems, which are basically lighting me right now. I also have a Philips Hue system, which is producing the red and blue lighting that's coming from behind the TV back here, which hopefully you can tell. And then I also purchased an Elgato strip lighting strip system, and that's what's around the door frame. I took a little extra time and did a little automation with the lighting. I have the ability using the Stream Deck to turn the lighting off with the strip on the door there, as you can see, back on, and also choose between different color schemes. So got a little Christmas time thing going for you here with the red, the blue, and the green. Fairly easy to set up. I have not done this type of lighting before. I've pretty much kept to just Key Light Airs back in the Happy Place Home Studio back in Seattle. Configuring them, the Philips Hue system was a little more work. It's a little more setup, and they have a couple of requirements which are a little bit presumptuous of where things are located and that type of thing. But I got past it. And the Elgato system was very, very simple and easy to set up. I'll probably do videos on the setup of both of those, although there's probably tons of videos out there on them already. I think that's a useful thing maybe to help people get to where they can understand it, as I do, maybe 10% right now. Obviously, there's more I can do with the layout of the lighting, and I have some additional lighting that I can install that I haven't installed yet, but I need to learn a little bit more about it. I'm going to watch a few YouTube videos on lighting and what makes for good lighting with this type of arrangement. Let's do a quick recap of what I can now do in my remote home studio here at Happy Place Home Studio South. Well, I can do all the basic things that I do in my main studio. I can record videos, as I am doing right now. I can also live stream videos, as I'm able to do now with this exact same setup. I can record music on my digital performer DAW software through my M4 audio interface. And pretty much the only thing I'm going to do right now with that is I can record guitar And I also have a ukulele I can record with an audio microphone. I can use Final Cut Pro, as I will be doing to edit this very video. A little example for you right there. And I can also use OBS software, which I use not only for streaming, but also to do the basic recording that I'm doing right now. I actually channel that through OBS. I'll be able to do a lot more as well, but those are the basics that I set out to set up with this new studio. I hope you've enjoyed checking this out, and we'll look forward to seeing you again here at Happy Place Home Studio.